So I'm originally from Saginaw, Michigan. I'm Doug Gillis, by the way. I'm the pitching coach for Virginia Tech. I played over 30 years in men's major fast pitch, but you don't want to hear all that. But I learned by playing, I learned by coaching, and put those two together. I only have been coaching in college 6 years. All right. So I'm older, but I only have been coaching in college 6 years.
How would you describe your progress as a person in your personal and professional career?
I always go to the phrase, my buddy, who's a big time Division I football referee, has this story. I'm not going to share the story with you, but it's generally about refereeing basketball and the guy who did the game and Bobby Knight threw the chair and all that story. And he arrived too early in his career and he got beat up because of it. So I always say, and he always said to my friend who referees big time Division I football, all right, it's better to arrive late than to arrive early. And by meaning that, if it's better to arrive late to the game, but know what you're doing, and then not arrive early and not know, because you can get swallowed up by whatever, and then all of a sudden you can't rebound, you never get. So I know more things coaching now at my age. If I got a Division I job at 25 and I stuck with it, I wouldn't know as much as I do now. So in my case, it's better to coach forever and arrive to the game late and be more informed than to arrive early and be less informed, but you're not as good a coach and you don't know any better. Yep.
What advice would you give your younger self or anyone entering or being fresh out of college, either entering the professional world or the coaching world, on how to embrace the challenges to come?
Oh, man. I would say you can learn from anybody. So take bits and information from every coach. I learned some of the best things I use from the worst coaches I ever had. 9 out of 10 things they said were like bad, but 1 out of 10 was really good, and I still use it. So if you separate the good ideas from the bad and make your own decisions, and you're able to differentiate between the good and bad information and do it your own way. And that's what I would say. There's some things that are commonly taught that everyone agrees on that aren't correct, but they don't want to rock the boat. So I would say get information from anybody and learn from every situation and do it your own way.
After achieving all the success that you have, how do you stay grounded and keep that creative spark to continue to learn more?
I think in teaching pitching, you always have new students and you always have new problems. And in this case, now I'm coaching a team. You're responsible for them having to get better. And so if you got a good pitcher on staff and you do your job, they get better every year. And I don't see that much in college softball, but they just ride the wave. A person comes in, they're already good. They don't make them better. They don't want to hurt them. They don't want to make them worse. So my creativity is, okay, we have this pitcher. She's really good. What's the next step to make it better? Because there's always the next step. So it's a constant improvement. So I just think that's what it is. How do I get better? How to make my players better and not stay stale? Yeah, because there's always to learn. There's always something to get better at. Two, we had a speaker a couple of years ago, like a good speaker about teamwork and all that stuff. And I always said that, or I said to him in like a private conversation, people, the players in college, they don't really care your background. They read it and they know it. And but by 2 weeks into coaching them, if they don't connect with you or they don't see themselves getting better, then they're going to tune you out. So the fact that you're coaching younger people and you have this background, they like it, but it doesn't mean anything to them. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to know did what you did in playing when they were 2 years old. So that means nothing to them. It's good that you have that background, but if you can't make them better, they'll tune you out. So that's always on the horizon, always on the edge of getting better. You look forward to working with the younger students and how to make them better. There's always a challenge. Yeah.
An interesting stat is that you're the only pitching coach in the country to produce the pitcher of the year in 4 out of the 5 major conferences. How have you been able to successfully take your experience as a player and now as a coach to produce these high performing athletes, especially on the big stage?
I was fortunate enough to be brought up in a softball family with in men's major that had big time players, and so I was able to see the highest level from an early age. So I saw techniques and athletes that pertain to these world class. But the thing about it, the simplest answer is if you take a good athlete and you teach them how to pitch and you're not afraid to convert their styles and their mechanics, they can be great. A lot of coaches are quite, I'm lucky enough to see players that played at a high level. I could take athletes who can do those same type of things, but that can't yet, and I can convert them to be able to do it. A lot of coaches are afraid to pitcher mechanics or make them better because they are good. Like, changing, you have to have a lot of nerve to do that and it's not exactly the same thing. They were good athletes that were under recruited, and we took the ideal of changing their whole style and mechanics to make them, what